I had people available for me, and so I want to provide people with that same availability. Whether it's a similar story or the same exact condition, I feel like anything with your heart can be scary because ultimately that's what keeps you alive. So just being available for them, I think is super special. I don't think it was an accident, whether it was me coming to Southeastern because they do screenings. Obviously, I get the opportunity to pursue sports, but I think God has chosen me as a specific person to advocate for it, and I don't think I would really change a thing, even after everything that I went through.
This was already kind of in place before I got here. This is my third year, and so we now do the entire athletic department in terms of our entire student-athlete population. So all new student-athletes get done at least once, and then any follow-ups that are needed. So it's a 10-lead EKG program that we do here in-house. Takes about 15-20 seconds of rhythm of their heartbeat, and then it's sent off to a pediatric cardiologist where they do readings constantly and look for any anomalies, any electrical activities that are out of the ordinary or things that may cause some concern. So most of these people are what we call asymptomatic, so they don't have any problems. They wouldn't know anything, any other day. And so this is a way for us to kind of just give a quick peek as to make sure that their heart's beating the way that it's supposed to. With Maddie, without going into too much detail, there was an abnormality. She had an extra electrical pathway, which is of a concern when you're at elevated heartbeat ratings. That can cause a person, very low percentage, but it could cause a person to go into cardiac arrest. And so at rest, it's really not that big of a deal, but the concern is when you're working out, when you're exercising, you're doing things like that. There was a genuine concern about the risk of something, fatal happening in that. So we had to take action. She did have a procedure to correct that. She's been asymptomatic, and she was asymptomatic beforehand. So without that screening, we probably would have never known.
I think for me, a lot of it was just being able to stay engaged with my team. I obviously wasn't given that ability to continue practice, but still being involved with them, whether it be on the sideline or doing little things through practice. I think that definitely helped me a lot because I still was associated with the game. It was tough coming from a junior college just because I was eager. In your preseason, that's kind of where you prove yourself and where your roles are kind of set. And so for me, I kind of lost out on the opportunity. But I think my teammates definitely encouraged me a lot just to stay engaged with them, learn plays from the sidelines. And obviously BJ, a huge part of it with a medical background, and any day that I was struggling, I would go to him, whether it was questions, whether it was just emotionally overloaded. He definitely did a tremendous job in assisting me through anything that I needed. During the spring last year, they were doing a second round of EKGs for new athletes had come in, and one of the guys who works with who we play for, his name is Evan. I had met with him for the first time, and I hadn't met him prior to, other than I think once. And so just hearing his story, hearing the why of who we play for came about, and it's ultimately getting behind a kid who had passed away from cardiac death. And then working with Xavier, who had went through a similar story of me his freshman year here. And so just discovering people that went through similar things. I'm not alone in it. And so I think that's definitely allowed me to become more engaged and just become passionate about it because I wasn't aware of it. I'd never had an EKG, and I still think to this day if I hadn't had one, I wouldn't know the severity of sudden cardiac death conditions that kids have.
The only way we're going to get more people to be able to do this is by creating awareness. And so her ability, and there's another student on campus that have really taken charge in that to try and create local awareness. The NAI has shown interest. Our conference now, majority of our conference members are using this company in their pre-screenings. So it's really taken off in the last couple of years, and it's all for the benefit of student athletes in terms of keeping them safe.
At Southeastern in specific, I have volunteered to do some screenings with BJ with the athletes that had come in this fall, and it's like a simple test, but it brings me so much like joy just because I was on the other end one day. And so other than that, we are starting a chapter here at Southeastern in conjunction with who we play for in hopes to just advocate for it, to potentially have volunteers do screenings here, not only on just the student body with athletes, but also the students in general. And so we're in the works with that right now, just to get a club behind, and hopefully as I graduate, Xavier graduates, we can have people follow in footprints and advocate for it as well.